We may not have Lord Murphy Costigan here this week in Southern States Wrestling, and that's always a problem for me. Always a problem. But we do have the emergence of a new tag team, the Glamour Guys, Grant Cristal and Z Collins. Now, in the first match, it is a 2-on-1 match. Why? Because CJ Knight doesn't have his partner, Nico J, not there, not turned up. So CJ, rather than saying, okay, I'll just leave it this week, he said, okay, I'll have a go. 2-on-1. Now, there is a phrase, more guts than brains, and I cannot, obviously, comment on that here. But, I mean, he has a good go. You know, he takes Grant Cristal down. Cristal then gets a headlock, which is nicely worked. There is a CJ Knight drop, arm drag. And although they mentioned, Joe Wheeler mentions, well, he used to be a champion. Not for long, though. They soon put it back on Murphy Costigan, didn't they? Quite right. And that should be happening again. Again, I tells you. Anyway, back in this match, we've got a Northern Lights suplex from Cristal, which is nice, actually, for a 2 count. And then Knight gets an elbow drop for a 2 count. You usually get a 2 count from an elbow drop, do you? But finally, it's the 2-on-1 game, and Cristal gets the pin because Collins is holding CJ Knight's foot from the outside, and CJ Knight's really angry. But you must have realised something like that was going to happen, CJ. You've got no one out there to help you. And it's 2-on-1. You kind of accept those odds when you take that on, don't you? Anyway, your main event will be the Faction, Connolly and Baker, the Jeffs, versus the Syndicate, the champions. That will be Trey Chaos and Lawrence. And they, or Jordan Lawrence is now called, isn't he? And Miss Serenity is handcuffed to Bobo Brazil at ringside, so she can't get involved. Can she? This is rather a fine match because we've got arm work here. I quite like that. So Baker works Trey's arm to begin with, slams him into Connolly's knee. Connolly's doing the double bicep pose before he gets slammed into the knee. Quite like that. Baker to Connolly, good work for them, actually. Baker hits a power slam. I think Joe Wheeler calls it a side slam. I think it was a power slam. Huge chops to Trey Chaos. And Trey Chaos does need that tag. Baker kicks the arm. That's very nice. And Trey Chaos has to go to the eyes. Immediately runs over to get the tag from Lawrence. And there are some Baker punches to Lawrence. But Lawrence comes back with a big avalanche. Oh, no, it's Baker with the avalanche. That's right. Later on, we've got Trey with a headlock with the hooks in as well. So he really works that headlock. Lawrence gets the avalanche. There are some shots from Baker, but very quickly, stiff fingers to the throat. From Lawrence really make a difference. There's an arm lock, and I love the way that Lawrence is getting help from Trey, holding on the ropes. I love that. A little bit of leverage. You use what you can, don't you? And you've got a 5 count to get out of there, really. And here come the Glamour Guys. Cristal and Collins, they unlock the cuffs, so Serenity is free. They cuff Bobo Brazil to the bottom rope. I don't think he can't know what was going on because it took him a while to do it, and you would have expected that he might have fought back a bit. He seems really surprised. What's going on? I'm now cuffed to the bottom rope. He might have realised they were doing that. And here they are, getting involved in the match to cause the DQ. As Connolly and Baker tell us later on, we didn't know who you were, Glamour Boys. You certainly are on our radar now. Does that mean that they're going to go into a programme with those Glamour Boys and not be in the title picture? Because they are very popular now, because people hate the champion so much, and Miss Serenity's work so much. She's successful in that regard. And does that mean they're going to have a slight diversion, or is that it for their title aspirations? Oh, I hope not, but that does mean maybe Murphy Costigan and Mike Mann can take over. Well, I wouldn't mind that at all. Ta-ta.